Okay, today we're going to talk about programming the irrigation controller in your garage that controls your sprinkler system and your drip system. This is the manual from one of the common irrigation controllers that we use, and so this is basically what most of our homeowners' units look like in the garage. You've probably got this manual in your owner's manuals folder that we left on your kitchen countertop. So what we're going to do before you program the controller, the best thing to do is decide what is going to be your entire watering schedule or your program. And to do that, it's nice to create a sheet kind of like this, and we're going to go through this and fill out this sheet to set up our watering schedule. We're working in one of our models right now, and so there's a sprinkler system in, and so we're going to go out and program the clock. The clocks, these irrigation controllers have three programs. You have program A, program B, and program C. In each program you have one of four available start times, and then you can set your zones to have a run time. And so the first thing to decide is what are you going to put on program A. And usually on program A you're going to put the sprinklers that water sod. You do not put the drip system on program A in most cases. You would typically put the drip system on program B. So the first thing we're going to talk about is setting up our program for program A to water the lawn areas, the sod areas. In this case, we've got a pretty established yard that's been here for a while, and we're only going to be watering it 2 days a week. The days of the week that we're going to water are going to be Wednesday and Saturday. And so, similar to the way the irrigation controller is going to look in the garage, I'm going to say we're going to get rid of Monday as a watering day. We're going to get rid of Tuesday as a watering day, get rid of Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. And so we're going to be watering on Wednesday and Saturday, 2 days a week. And depending upon water restrictions, you're going to have to check on that. A new yard, you're going to want to water more than that. Our landscape contractor All Seasons recommends when your yard first goes in that they're going to set up your clock and they're going to have it watering 2 to 3 times per day, every day of the week. And after approximately 2 weeks, they suggest that you cut that back to every day of the week, once a day. And then after another week or so, you cut back again. And then you're just going to base it upon how your yard is performing after that. So the next thing we're going to set after we've set our water days is our start times. And so this is the time that the sprinkler system is going to start up. You've got 4 available start times. We're going to have our sprinkler system going twice a day. So we're going to use start time 1 and start time 2. We're not even going to use 3 and 4. And for start time 1, we're going to do 5 a.m. And so the sprinklers are going to come on the first time at 5 a.m. in the morning. And then the next time we're going to have them come on is going to be at 7 p.m. And then for the next 2, we're going to have it off. We won't even have a start time. So our sprinklers are going to water on Wednesday and Saturday, once at 5 o'clock in the morning and once at 7 o'clock in the evening. Then the next thing you've got to decide is for your zones. And this particular house has 5 sprinkler zones, and so the S is standing for sprinkler, and that's the zone number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sprinkler zones. And this particular house, unlike most of our houses, has 2 drip zones. Most of you homeowners out there are only going to have 1 drip zone. And you might have fewer sprinkler zones or more sprinkler zones. But you typically are just going to have 1 drip, unless you've got some raised planter beds or something like that. So we're going to set our run time, and we're going to put just 8 minutes on each of the sprinkler zones. And so we're going to do 8, 8, 8, 8, and 8. And then we're not even utilizing a zone 6. There is no zone 6 on this house. On program A, we're not putting the drip system, so we're not going to put any time, and we're not going to put any time. The next thing we're going to do is now what you would typically do is you would put your drip system on program B. You don't put it on program A, just the sprinklers, so your drip system is going to be on program B. The drip system is watering all of the plants and trees that are set within a mulch area, and it's got a little tiny line smaller than the diameter of this pin that goes to each plant. And when it's running, it just goes drip, 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 drip to each plant, giving them the amount of water they need. We're going to water the drip system. We're going to set that up to go every day. and we're only going to have it go once per day. So I'm not going to cross any of these days out. We're going to leave it every day. We're only going to have one start time, and we're going to do that at 7 a.m. And so there will be no start time 2, no start time 3, and no start time 4. Since we're only talking about drip now, we're only talking about zones 7 and 8, and so we're not going to have any run time on our sprinkler zones on this program. And 6, there is no zone. 7, we've actually turned off. That was some pots that we were watering using the drip system, so I'm not going to put any time on that. And 8 is the drip system that waters all the shrubs and the trees and the grasses that are set within the mulch area. And the drip system you want going far longer than the 8 minutes. You're going to want drip system probably going about 45 minutes. And so I'm going to put 45 minutes on this drip zone. And so again, program B that controls the drip is going to go every day of the week, one time each day at 7 a.m. and it's going to go for 45 minutes. In most cases, you're not even going to utilize program C. You won't need that. There are some unusual cases where you might need that. If you had any questions about when you might want to use program C, you could get in touch with us. But from here, we're going to head out into the garage and actually look at the controller and do a little bit of programming. Okay, we're out in the garage now, and we're going to go ahead and program the irrigation controller to follow the schedule that we just made when we were on the inside. We did give some thought as we were coming out here to the schedule that we created when we were on the inside. And with this being a more established yard and the plants in the mulch area being more mature and having better root systems, having the drip system go every day is a little bit much. So we've actually reduced that. We're not going to water Monday. We are going to water Tuesday, not Wednesday. We will water Thursday, not Friday. We will water Saturday and not Sunday. And that's just on program B, which is the drip. So again, the drip will just be watering 3 days a week. Another difference you might see between the system we're looking at here and the system in your house is that most of the newer houses have a rain sensor device that would be in here as well. And so we're not going to talk about that at all today. We're just going to talk about programming of the irrigation controller here. And we're basically going to now follow this schedule that we set up here. So typically if your system had been winterized and you were getting ready to turn it back on, the dial here, and this is the dial, would be set to system off. The first thing you probably do is just click it over to run. You should see the time there. And the next thing we're going to do is go over to just what is the current day and time and make certain that that's correct. And if not, we could adjust it. So when you bop over there, the first thing you see is the year. You could increase the year or decrease the year by using the plus and minuses here. But since we're on the correct year, we're just going to hit the arrow button to the right. And now we're looking at the month and the date. And the date here is blinking, and I could increase that or decrease that, but we're on the correct date. And so we're just going to hit the arrow again, and it pops back to the clock, and we'd be ready to start programming. So the first thing we're going to do, when we were on the inside, we set up program A first, and that's for the sprinklers that water sod areas. And so the first thing we're going to do is spin the dial down to the water days. So we're going to set what days of the week do we want the sprinkler system that waters just the sod to be watering. What we've got to do here is utilize this program button as well. So this program button is going to hop us between program A, B, and C. If you look over here in the little display, you can see we're showing program B right now. And we actually want to be fiddling with program A at this point in time. So I'm just going to press the program button, and it should pop over to C first, and then back to A. And so now we're looking at program A. And that's what we want to be looking at. And this is just for the sprinklers. And we can see right now that the little raindrop looking icon there above the Monday is dripping, or is blinking. And what we're wanting to do is take Monday out of the watering schedule. So if we just press the minus button right now, we're going to get a little circle with a crosshatch through it, and that's going to eliminate Monday as a watering day. And now Tuesday's raindrop is blinking, and we're going to eliminate that as a watering day. Wednesday's now blinking, but we're going to leave it as a watering day, so we're just going to arrow over to Thursday, and we're going to eliminate that as a watering day by pressing the minus button. Friday's now blinking, and we're going to eliminate that as a watering day by pressing the minus button. Then we're going to skip Saturday so that it continues to water and go over to Sunday, press the minus button, and now we've got it set up for program A is watering just on Wednesday and Saturday. And so the next thing that we would do is we would go up, spin the dial to the run times here. And at the run times, this is how long are we going to have each zone water. And when the dial is set to run times, the number 1 up here represents a zone. When we turn the dial to start times, that number is going to represent a different feature. But right now, that in fact represents a zone. We're still on program A, and we have 0 minutes set right now on zone 1, program A. And so if we want to add some minutes, we're just going to press the plus button. And as we talked about on the inside when we were talking about programming it, we're going to put 8 minutes on there. So we're just going to push the plus button until we get up to 8 minutes. And then we're going to hit the arrow button, and that's going to hop us over to zone 2. And we're going to add 8 minutes. And we're going to do this for all 5 zones. So I hop over to zone 3 by using the arrow button. Add our minutes. Hop over to 4. Going to add our minutes. In a new yard, you might water more minutes than this, and from time to time you're going to need to adjust the amount of minutes that you water. It's not typically just to set it and forget it all season long or from year to year. You may have to adjust given the hotter days of the summer and the cooler days of spring and cooler days of fall. And so now I'm going to arrow over to zone 6, and I mentioned on the inside that we're not even using zone 6. I'm going to arrow over to zone 7, and this was a drip system that we're no longer utilizing, or a drip zone that we're no longer utilizing, so I'm not going to put any time on that. And now I'm going to arrow over to zone 8, which is the main drip zone. We will be adding time to this later when we go to program B, so we're still on program A. And we're going to put the drip zone 8 on program B. So now we've got all our zones set for the times we want for program A, and we're going to spin the dial to start times. I'll press this real quick. And so there's one of 4 available start times you can program to. And as we talked on the inside, we're going to set 2 start times, a 5 a.m. and a 7 p.m. on this. Right now, when you push the arrows, and this number changes, it no longer represents a zone, it represents a start time. So if I just arrow through, it's going to go 2, 3, 4, back to 1. So those are start times, not zones when the dial is set here. So we're looking at start time 1 right now, and we talked about setting that at 5 a.m. And so right now it's set at 4 a.m. So I'm just going to arrow it, or do the plus, and it goes in 15-minute increments until I get to 5 a.m. And so we've now set the first start time to go at 5 a.m. Now I'm going to hit the arrow button to go to start time 2. That's at 6 a.m. And we're going to go clear up till we get to 7 p.m. And I'm just kind of holding the button right now so that it's scrolling through a little bit quicker. And we're going to scroll through till it gets to 7 p.m. And we'll be there in a moment here. So there we go. We got start time 2 set at 7 p.m. And now if I push the arrow again, we're going to look at start time 3, and we've actually got that turned off, and that's what we want. And start time 4 is turned off. That's also what we want. And so essentially we're done with the programming on program A. We've got it set following this schedule up here to go Wednesday and Saturday at 5 a.m. and 7 p.m., 8 minutes a zone, and these 3 zones are not on program A. So now we're going to look at doing program B. And so we're going to spin the dial down to our water days again. And now if we press the program button, we're going to change from program A to program B. Right now program B is set up to water every day of the week. And as we talked about, we're going to now alter that. We're going to get rid of Monday, get rid of Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday as watering days. And so to get rid of Monday as a watering day, when it's blinking, we just press the minus button. And so we've gotten rid of that. Tuesday's blinking now, but we're going to arrow over to Wednesday, and we're going to get rid of that as a watering day. We're going to leave Thursday, arrow over to Friday, get rid of that as a watering day. We're going to leave Saturday, arrow over to Sunday, and get rid of that as a watering day. So we've got program B watering on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 3 days a week. And this is just for the drip system only. This does not encompass the sprinklers at this point in time. So now we're going to set our run time. And for this, we talked about a drip system setting a more substantial number of minutes. And it will vary, yard to yard, house to house, but probably anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And I'm going to average it and do 45 minutes on this. So we're just going to do the plus button here to start adding minutes. And we're going to scroll up till we got 45 minutes on here. And again, much longer than sprinklers typically run because it's just going drip, drip, drip to each plant. It's not spraying a substantial amount of water. And now we've got that set for the amount of time we want it to run. Now we're going to set our start times, and we're still going to be on program B. You can see this B just follows us through as we're spinning the dial around. We're looking at start time 4 here. I'm going to hit the arrow button, and it's going to ratchet right back around to start time 1. And that's right now set at 8 a.m., but we want to drop that to 7 a.m. So I'm going to hit the minus button right here, and we're going to drop that to 7 a.m. And so now we've got the time set, and let's look and see if we've got anything on start time 2. When we did our scheduling on the inside, we said we didn't want start time 2, 3, or 4 when we're talking about the drip. And so if I hit the 2 as a start time is off, and that's what we want. 3 is off, and 4 is off, and that's what we want. So let's just take a quick look at C and see how we're not using it. So if I spin all the way down to water days again, and I press the program button, I'm going to be looking at program C. And initially you would think, wow, we're watering every day of the week. Well, it's set that if we put something on program C, it would water every day of the week, but in truth, we just don't have anything on program C. So when we go to our run times, and now we're looking at zone 1, and I'm going to arrow through each zone, zone 1, zone, all the way through zone 8, you won't see any run times. And since there's no run times, the system is just going to ignore program C. If I go to start times, I typically am not going to have any start times on program C. So again, the system is just ignoring program C. And so now that we've got it programmed, all we would need to do is turn it to run, and then the system would be up and running. I'm going to do one more thing on this little irrigation controller, and I'm going to show you how you can kind of tell what zones you've got on your system. And to see that, if you remove this lower panel right here, and hopefully this is going to show up, there are some numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so there's, you can see there's a wire coming to 1, a wire to 2, 3, 4, and 5. There is no wire coming to 6. There's a wire going to 7 and 8. These are our sprinklers. Then typically the irrigation contractor is going to set it up. He's going to skip a zone, and then the zone or zones after that will be the drip system. Most of your houses out there, you're only going to find one wire after the skipped zone. So you might have 1, 2, 3, skip, and then go to the last zone, and the last zone would be your drip. We'll also take a look at the valve box and look at the actual physical zone valves down in there, and that'll end our video. So we're going to go take a look at the valve box real quick. Okay, we're outside now just looking down into the valve box, and this really doesn't involve any of the programming. We've done the programming, just wanted to make you familiar with what you've got when you look at your valve box outside. So this is looking down into the valve box. We've already removed the lid, and we can see the physical actual zone valves here. And we've got 7 total zone valves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 8 zone spots on the controller inside, and I mentioned that we weren't using 6. And so that's why there are 7 valves out here, not 8, because we don't even have a zone 6. 2 of them out here are drip zone valves. And you can identify the drip zone valves by they have this little pressure regulator on them that I'm pointing to right here. The one over here might be a little bit harder to see, but on that side of the valve box, and it's partly outside of the valve box, but I think you can see the body of the pressure regulator right there. These zones, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, do not have that pressure regulator on it, and they are in fact the sprinkler zones. So we've got 5 sprinkler zones and our 2 drip zones. And one of these drip zones we're not even using anymore because we don't have the pots anymore that we were watering with that drip zone. And so again, those are the valves. If you got any question about the whole programming sequence or your valves, you can feel free to shoot us an email at warranty@infinityhomecollection.com. Thanks.